Have you ever had that strange feeling where your mind refuses to let go of someone? You find yourself thinking about that person over and over again, as if something bigger than yourself is guiding your attention toward them, and you wonder, is it just my heart? Or is God trying to tell me something? If you've ever felt that way, stay until the end of this video, because what you're experiencing could well be a divine sign, deeper than you imagine. Have you ever had that strange experience, where the face, the voice, or even the simple memory of a person returns again and again to your mind, like a wave that keeps returning to the shore? You try to think of something else, you keep yourself busy, you change the subject. But this constant return, this insistence, persists. And somewhere, deep down, you feel that there is more than a simple attraction, as if your heart senses a greater, deeper message, one that is beyond your own control. It's not just a matter of feelings. On the spiritual journey, the insistence of certain thoughts is never empty. Your soul, sometimes, grasps before you what your mind is slow to comprehend. And in those moments, it is possible that God is placing before you a sign, a subtle reminder, an opportunity for transformation that you would never have seen otherwise. For Allah does not communicate only through visible trials or great blessings. He also speaks to you in the silence of your heart, in the repetition of what imposes itself on your mind, in the constancy of what attracts you without rational explanation. And when a person returns to your heart in this way, it may be a crucial step in your inner journey. You must understand one thing. Anything that takes up space in your heart is never neutral. The heart is the center of your relationship with your Creator. It is where intention, sincerity, faith are born, but also attachment, forgetfulness, and sometimes self-loss. So when Allah allows someone to persistently occupy your heart, ask yourself, is it to elevate you, or is it to test you? Is it to bring you closer to Him, or to reveal something within yourself that you are still unaware of? Sometimes, it's not the person themselves that is important, but what their presence triggers within you. Perhaps this compelling memory is there to awaken your patience. Perhaps it highlights your need to purify your intentions. Perhaps it reminds you that you control nothing, not even your own heart. And in this helplessness, you discover a shattering truth. The heart does not belong to human beings. It is twisted, directed, shaped according to divine wisdom. If Allah decides that your heart clings to a reminder, He has a specific reason. You only see the surface, but He knows the depths. Imagine for a moment that this person occupying your mind is not there to fill an emotional void, but to show you a path you hadn't considered. A mirror, a test, a springboard. Because sometimes Allah places a person in your field of thought to awaken your soul from its torpor, to break your routine, so that you realize that there are spiritual needs within you that you've never paid attention to. What if this constant return of her image, of her words, wasn't a call to her, but a call to Him? What if what you believe to be a simple obsession was actually an opportunity for inner growth? Perhaps, through this person, Allah wants to teach you a truth you've refused to see for too long. Your heart thirsts for a meaning greater than this world. Look carefully. This kind of sudden attachment presents you with a choice. Either you plunge headlong into illusion, thinking that the person themselves are the end goal, or you stop, breathe, and ask yourself, what is Allah trying to teach me through this feeling? Because the real test is not falling in love, nor becoming attached. The real test is discernment. Understanding that whatever touches your heart should bring you back to Allah, not away from it. If that person becomes a distraction, then it's a veil. But if they become a key, that opens a door to sincerity, to patience, to a better version of yourself, then perhaps it's a sign of His mercy. Make no mistake, the heart is the most sacred place in your existence. It's the place where Allah looks, where your faith is born, where your deepest intention lies hidden. When something or someone enters it insistently, it's a spiritual jolt. A reminder that you are not in complete control of your journey. A reminder that sometimes Allah subtly directs you to what you must confront within yourself. And what makes these moments so powerful is that they reveal who you truly are. When your heart becomes attached, when your mind constantly returns to a person, your soul is laid bare. You discover your desires, your weaknesses, your vulnerability, but also your potential, your strength, your capacity to love for Allah and not for yourself. Imagine a traveler, alone, lost in the vastness of a burning desert. The sun beats down hard, the sand burns beneath his feet, and each step becomes an unbearable weight. His water is almost gone, his strength is failing him, and he begins to doubt whether he can continue. But amidst this fatigue, his gaze rises. Over there, on the horizon, a glimmer of light appears, so faint at first that he believes it's an illusion, perhaps a mirage, perhaps nothing. Yet, something within him clings on. An inner voice tells him, move forward, one more step, then another. And this is exactly how many of us experience certain encounters, certain sudden attachments. In the dryness of your heart, in the fatigue of your soul, Allah shines an unexpected light. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a thought, sometimes it's a brief but memorable encounter. And your soul, exhausted by loneliness or inner emptiness, clings to it like a traveler clings to that light in the desert. This traveler walks on and on. Each step is a struggle against abandonment. He doesn't know what he will find: shelter, water, or nothingness. But he continues, because something in his heart knows that this light cannot be there without a reason. You too, when someone keeps coming back to your mind, you don't know why. You doubt, you question, you wonder. Is this real? Is this a sign? Is it just my imagination? And yet, you keep moving toward this thought. Your soul cannot let go. But here's what you don't know. In this walk, Allah is educating you. He's giving you a taste of the traveler's patience. He's helping you discover that your heart, even in confusion, can remain in motion. And this movement, this step-by-step, is what brings you closer to divine wisdom. Now, imagine that this traveler finally arrives before the light. And there, he discovers something surprising. It wasn't an oasis filled with water as he had hoped, nor was it a mirage. It was a small flame protected by a rock, placed there as a landmark. A tiny flame, but strong enough to keep him from losing hope. And that's exactly what these persistent thoughts can be in your life. Not a final destination, but a landmark, a sign on your path. A reminder that Allah has not forgotten your heart, even when you have forgotten yourself. A presence placed before you, not to fulfill your earthly desires, but to rekindle an extinguished spark within you. The traveler sits near this small light. He finds no water. He finds no food. But he finds something more important, the certainty that he is not alone in the desert. This flame silently tells him, continue on your path. There is still something waiting for you further on. And you, when Allah repeatedly places a person in your mind, Don't always believe that this person is the goal. Sometimes they are only a flame in your inner desert, a reminder that you must continue searching further, a sign that there is something within you to awaken, to understand, to purify. But be careful. The traveler could have made a mistake. He could have sat before the flame and refused to move forward. He could have believed that this small fire was the oasis he needed. And in that case, he would have remained there, motionless, until his strength faded. Many people make this mistake with their hearts. They believe that the person who occupies their mind is the ultimate goal, the absolute finality. They cling to them to the point of forgetting that it may only be a sign, a passage, a test. And by confusing the sign with the destination, they lose themselves in attachment instead of finding wisdom. Look carefully. Allah did not create your heart to be a prisoner of another human being. He created it to be free, alive, vibrant, always oriented towards Him. So when a person becomes a persistent light for you, ask yourself this question: do I see in them an end or a path? Do I dwell on their presence? Or do I understand that it is Allah who placed them there to guide me further? The traveler's desert is your inner desert. The dryness of your prayers when you lose concentration. The exhaustion of your soul when you no longer find meaning. The silent anguish of your nights when you can no longer soothe your heart. And the light he sees is that persistent thought, that face, that person who keeps returning to your mind. It's not always an answer. It's not always a promise. But it's always a sign that your desert is not empty. A sign that Allah still has messages to send you. A sign that even in your exhaustion, He wants to keep your heart awake. Tell me, why do you think this person occupies your mind so much? Is it really them, or is it what they represent to you? When you close your eyes, is it their face you seek? Or is it the emptiness within you that you try to fill through them? Ask yourself this question: if this person were to disappear completely from your life tomorrow, would your heart collapse? And if the answer is yes, why have you allowed your heart to depend so much on a creature when the Creator has never ceased to call you? Ask yourself honestly, is your attachment an escape or a mission? Are you fleeing a solitude you refuse to face? Or is Allah preparing you for a greater responsibility, a trial you have not yet understood? Because there's a huge difference between being attracted to someone because your soul is empty and being attracted to someone because your soul senses that God wants to teach you a new lesson. The first path leads to addiction. The second leads to growth. So be honest with yourself. What's behind this insistence? Is it the fear of being alone? Is it the need for validation? Is it the desire for instant happiness that's blinding you? Or is it a divine door that you refuse to open because you're too afraid of what you might discover inside? What if I told you that this heart that beats for someone for no apparent reason might not be a weakness, but a key that God places in your hand to see if you'll open the right door, or if you'll get lost down a dark corridor? Every repeated thought, every heartbeat, every apparent obsession is not a mere whim. It is a question posed by Allah to your soul. What will you do with this? Look at yourself carefully. When this person returns to your mind, does it bring you closer to prayer? Or does it push you further away from it? Does it inspire you to become better, more sincere, more worthy? Or does it simply feed your ego, your desire, your fear of loss? Answer honestly, because your soul already knows the truth, even if your mind refuses to admit it. Ask yourself again, what if this attraction is not a gift, but a test? Will you be able to bear it with dignity, without betraying your Creator? Or will you let this fire consume your heart until you forget why it beats? When Allah puts someone in your path, it's never by chance. But it's not always to unite you with that person. Sometimes, it's to reveal what's inside you, your desires, your wounds, your shortcomings, your impatience. And the question then becomes, are you going to let these flaws swallow you up? Or are you going to transform them into strength? Tell me, are you truly seeking this person? Or are you seeking Allah through them without even knowing it? Because if your heart sees only an end in them, you're already lost. But if your heart understands that they are a sign, then you begin to see with the eyes of the soul. So I ask you again, why does this person occupy your mind so much? Is it because you believe they hold your peace? Or is it because Allah wants you to discover that your peace will never come from her, but only from Him? Stop for a second. Listen to your inner silence. When you think of her, what do you really feel? Is it a tranquility that uplifts you? Or is it a restlessness that chains you? Because tranquility is a sign of guidance, but restlessness is a sign of misguided attachment. And that is where you must choose. Between mistaking a person for a destination, or understanding that they are simply a signpost on your path to Allah. So look deep within your heart. You think you are obsessed with a person, but in truth, you are taking a spiritual test. The real question is not, will I achieve this person? The real question is, what does this feeling reveal about me? And will it make me closer or further from Allah? But really ask yourself, why does this person occupy your mind so much? Why do their image, their name, their memory resurface in your heart even when you try to forget them? Is it because your soul chose them? Or because Allah placed them there for a reason you don't yet dare to face? Isn't it deep down because your heart is fleeing the emptiness it carries within? You know this emptiness. Those nights when you look at your phone, hoping for a message that never comes. Those prayers where your lips move but your mind wanders elsewhere. Those moments when you are surrounded by people but you feel terribly alone. So when a person appears in this inner desert, you cling to them like a lifeline. But ask yourself, is this person really saving you? Or are you simply trying to avoid facing the void you refuse to fill with Allah? Or perhaps, is Allah inviting you to discover a new responsibility, a new stage in your path? Because you have to admit it, certain presences in your life awaken dormant things within you. You find yourself wanting to be better. You dream of stability. You think about the future more seriously. Isn't it strange that this simple attachment gives rise to a desire for maturity in you? As if Allah wanted to teach you that your heart is not only capable of loving her, but also of preparing, building, and carrying something greater than yourself. But stop there. Analyze carefully. When someone attracts you for no logical reason, it's not just an emotion, it's a test. And trials never come to flatter your ego. They come to reveal you. So the real question is, will you be lucid enough to understand the message, rather than straying into attachment? Ask yourself, when you think of this person, what grows within you? Is it your faith, your sense of responsibility, your desire to become more worthy in the eyes of Allah? Or is it your impatience, your obsession, your inability to let go? Because that's the difference between a sign and a temptation. Does it elevate you? Or does it chain you? Imagine yourself for a moment in front of a mirror. You look at your reflection, but what you see isn't your face. It's your heart. Do you see clarity, a light, a growing sincerity? Or do you see chains, shadows, an attachment that exhausts you day after day? So I ask you again, why does this person occupy your mind so much? Is it because your heart is weak, desperately seeking an earthly idol to fill what it cannot find in Allah? Or is it because Allah, in His mercy, wants to awaken something in you that you had let die? Patience, humility, the ability to love for Him and not for yourself. And be honest with yourself. Are you truly seeking this person? Or are you seeking through them a peace that you hope to finally find? Because if it is peace you seek, know that no human being can ever give it to you. They can be a cause, a means, an inspiration, but never the source. The source is only one, and Allah is the only one who can fill the bleeding void in your heart. So, what are you going to do now? Continue to let yourself be dominated by a thought that keeps going around in circles, to the point of robbing you of your serenity? Or stop and sincerely ask yourself, what is God trying to teach me through this person? Because you already know deep down, nothing happens by chance. Even the faces that recur, even the thoughts that impose themselves, even the attachments that seem inexplicable, it's all part of a larger plan, beyond your comprehension. But the real question is, will you be lucid enough to see it? Or will you stray into illusion, confusing the test with the answer, the attachment with the sign, the person with the goal? Think of a seed buried deep underground. No one sees it. No one can imagine what it contains. Outside, there is only dust, earth, silence. And yet, inside this seed, an invisible force waits its time. For weeks, perhaps months, nothing moves. The rain falls, the sun warms, but everything remains motionless on the surface. And suddenly, at the precise moment willed by Allah, a crack appears in the seed. A burst of life bursts forth, at first fragile, tiny, almost invisible. But what was hidden is revealed. What was dormant awakens. Your heart, sometimes, works exactly like this. It carries seeds within it that you are unaware of. Seeds of patience, maturity, sincerity, inner strength. But they remain buried. They sleep, silent. You continue your life without even knowing that these treasures are within you. And then one day, without warning, Allah sends a special rain into your life. Sometimes it's a trial. Sometimes it's an encounter. Sometimes it's a person who imposes themselves on your thoughts, on your heart, as if their existence held the key to something buried within you. This person becomes the rain of your soul. They don't come to be your heaven, nor your earth, but simply to awaken a seed you had forgotten. Think about it for a moment. Why this sudden fixation? Why doesn't your mind let go? What if it's not to attach you to the person themselves, but so that you can discover what Allah wants to grow within you? Like a seed that breaks before giving birth to a plant, your heart must sometimes crack to allow a new version of yourself to sprout. And this process is never comfortable. The seed doesn't emerge from the earth gently. It must tear, break, struggle against the darkness of the soil before reaching the light. It's the same for your soul. Perhaps this painful obsession, this incomprehensible attachment, isn't a trap, but a birth. Perhaps you are breaking yourself so that you can grow. Imagine a huge tree. Its roots plunge deep into the earth, and its branches rise toward the sky. Everyone admires the tree, its shade, its fruit. But few remember that, once upon a time, it was only a small seed, invisible, fragile, lost in the darkness. It is the ordeal of the soil, of burial, of solitude, that allowed its greatness. Your heart too can become a tree. But for that to happen, it must go through that dark stage where it feels lost, obsessed, misunderstood. Perhaps this person who keeps coming back to your mind is just the trigger for this process. They are not the tree. They are not the end goal. They are simply the rain that hits the earth so that the seed can awaken. What if, in truth, this fixation isn't a weakness, but a preparation? A reminder that Allah wants to elevate you to a new stage of your life? A connection that not only elevates you in this world, but resonates into eternity? Because what grows in your heart through this person isn't just a human desire. Perhaps it's a call to become more responsible, to purify your intention, to learn to love not with your ego, but with your soul. But be careful. Just as a seed can grow into a tree, it can also be stifled, crushed, forgotten underground if it isn't nurtured. Your fixation can become a light, but it can also become a prison. It all depends on what you choose to do with it. So ask yourself the real question. What is this seed within you awakening? Is it patience? Is it gratitude? Is it the discipline to draw closer to Allah to deserve what your heart longs for? Or is it simply a fire of attachment that consumes you without building anything? Look closely at nature. Every plant that is born, every tree that grows, must orient itself toward the light. If it grows in the shadows, it twists, it becomes fragile, it withers. And your heart is the same. If it grows toward Allah, even the attachment you feel today will become a strength, a lesson, an elevation. But if it grows toward illusion, it will distort itself until it loses its beauty. So when you feel this person return to your mind, don't just see it as an obsession. See it as rain, a sign, an invisible hand gently knocking on the door of your soul to say, wake up, grow, discover what I've always wanted inside you.
So, when your mind constantly revolves around someone, don't take it lightly. Never believe it's just a coincidence, a weakness, a trivial distraction. Your heart is far too precious for anything to enter it without reason. God doesn't play with your heart. There is no coincidence in what He places there. Every emotion, every repeated thought, every sudden attachment carries meaning. And this insistence you feel, it's not empty. It's either a mercy or a trial. Think about it. If Allah wanted your heart to remain neutral, He would have left it alone. If He allowed someone to enter it with such force, it's because there is wisdom behind it. A wisdom that isn't immediately apparent, a wisdom that you may not understand today, but which has the power to transform your entire existence. What if what you take for weakness was actually a silent call from your Creator? A call to tell you, look at your heart, look at what it hides, look at what it truly desires, because deep down, it's not that person you're looking for. It's bigger than that. It's what your soul believes it finds through them. Peace, stability, a light that you've been missing for too long. And Allah, in His mercy, sometimes uses a face, a memory, an encounter, to awaken within you a spiritual quest you had abandoned. Don't minimize what you feel. Most people run away from their emotions or drown them in the distractions of this world. But you, if you take the time to listen, you might discover that this insistence is a key that opens the door to your inner transformation. What if Allah used this obsession to teach you how to love differently? To love without idolizing, to desire without losing your balance, to seek a relationship that isn't centered on you, but on Him. You must understand, Allah never places a person in your mind for nothing.
There is always a reason, even if you don't understand it right away. And sometimes the reason has nothing to do with the person. Sometimes the reason is you. It's your soul. It's your need to purify yourself, to grow, to draw closer to Him. And here is the truth that few dare to face. What you take for attachment may be a mirror that God places before you to reveal who you truly are. In this mirror, you see your shortcomings. In this mirror, you see your addictions. In this mirror, you see your impatience, your need for control, your fear of loss. And the more you refuse to look, the more the image persists. So ask yourself, what if this person were just a reflection? So you can see what your heart needs to change. But there's more. And that's where the intensity rises. Because sometimes, this sudden attachment is a preparation for a stage you don't yet suspect. Perhaps Allah wants to give you something great, but He first tests your heart with this persistent feeling. Will He become your idol, or will He become your springboard? That's the real question. Because the same attachment can either elevate you or destroy you, and the choice is yours. Feel these words. Your heart is not neutral ground. Your heart is a sanctuary. And Allah sometimes places burning signs there, shocks, to wake you up. Every beat you feel when you think of this person may not be a simple beat of love. Perhaps it's a reminder that your heart is alive, and it's time to steer it in the right direction. So listen to this insistence, not as an addiction, not as a weakness, but as a silent voice whispering, it's time. It's time to look within. It's time to purify what you feel. It's time to discover why I'm placing this sign in your life. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, enters your heart without divine wisdom. And if today you're wondering why this person occupies your mind so much, perhaps the real answer isn't for them, but for you, for your soul, for your return to Allah. If you feel this inner tug, remember, God never acts without wisdom. Your heart isn't distracted by chance. Every repeated thought is a message, an invitation to listen more attentively. And if this video resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might be going through the same journey. Subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming reminders. And above all, keep your heart open, because divine signs always arrive when you least expect them.